As Spurs fans, you know you're not allowed to enjoy any good feelings for long. No sooner had we conjured up a 2-goal lead to take to Bodo for the Europa League semi-final second leg before we're told of more terrible injury news, with James Maddison joining Lucas Bergvall in missing the last few weeks of the season, including any potential European final. I'll be discussing that, the West Ham board draw, and all the rest of the Tottenham Hotspur news with Ash from Spurs Kings TV. How are you, Ash?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you, Bruno?
Yeah, I mean, thoroughly bored by that West Ham game, but I don't think I've spoken to you since the first leg. What were your overall feelings coming out of that one?
Yeah, you know what? It's an interesting one. Happy with the result. 3-1, 2-goal advantage. I think people were left a little bit deflated by the late conceded goal. Not late conceded, but conceding the goal at home. We wanted a 3-goal advantage, and Bodo have been known to turn ties around when they're back at their ground. So I think that's what the concern was with some fans. But generally, like when the lineup came up, I was like, what the hell are we doing? Why are we playing this midfield? And why are we playing these guys up front? Because Bissouma, he hadn't featured, right? Richarlison, we hadn't seen him out wide. So it was like, what's the formation, first of all? And then why are these guys being favoured over the likes of Tell? We know Johnson might start, but, so we're not too surprised there. But I think that was the biggest surprise, having Richarlison play on the left and having Solanke play up top. But it worked out. Like everyone was proven wrong.
So we're going to put this down as one of Ange's few selection credits.
Yeah, 100%, man. I think, you know what? He got it right. And then I'm like, in the second half, as we picked up a few injuries, we had a lack of control in the midfield. The tempo was a little bit off. In terms of, like, I thought we could have really gone for them. They had a few players missing.
Sorry to interrupt me, but I thought him actually taking Richarlison off made us lose that physical edge that had really got us a grip in the game.
I was just about to say that. But at the same time, I'm like, if you start with Richarlison in the second leg, if, for example, because Solanke came off, and I felt we lost that kind of physical presence up top. So having both of them off and Maddison off, we had nothing to kind of stick to, if that makes sense. No, like, focal point, no one that it could, we could control higher up the pitch. Because sometimes when you haven't got the midfielders to control the game, you kind of need to get it higher up the pitch just to kind of manage the game so far, so they don't come onto us so much. And so I'm looking at this second leg. If I'm looking at the lineup, I'm thinking maybe we should, because Maddison's not there, not use Richarlison to start with, just in case Solanke slows down. Right. Then you can bring Richarlison on, and then you've got a focal point with him.
Yeah, that makes sense. One thing that I really noticed, and I'd noticed having watched clips of Bodo Glimt in the other legs, I feel like about 80% of their attacking game is built on 1-2s. They love to, they play it into the feet of the midfielder or into the forward, and then the runner goes again. And I just wonder whether there's something, and I hope Anne just picked this up. If you can get our players from early on in that second leg trying to block the runners, just get their bodies in the way, and almost put into the Bodo Glimt players that, okay, they're not going to be able to do that simple. And listen, 1-2s are always hard to deal with. That's why you'll coach them so early, because that's hard. But if you can block the runs and do it in a way where you're not going to be giving away fouls, then it'll put it in their mind that they have to try and do something different, and that might make them panic a little bit. Like, I was honestly genuinely surprised at how the only trouble they caused us were by giving, the player from deep, giving it into someone's feet and then going again, and us just not going with the runner.
So I that's why I was surprised that we don't take the kind of like double pivot into the Premier League, because I felt when Bentancur and Bissouma were there, they kind of sat together. They were more or less parallel at times. So if one would go into one kind of half space, they would pick up that third man runner that you're talking about, and the other one would do the opposite on the opposite side. So you've got two players that sit, and it allows your attacking midfielder, to roam and be free and be creative and do the things that they're good at. And I felt at the West Ham game, we kind of reverted back to the midfield free, where you have a single pivot and you've got Sarr. I felt Sarr was the left 8, and then Kulu was at the right 8. And I think it was a little bit disjointed in that kind of action. And I think that's why we lost a lot of those midfield battles. So I would prefer if we keep, and I think it suits us. I think that's what the players are familiar with under previous managers. We you know, when you've got Bentancur and you've got Bissouma, Bentancur, he's not the best scanner, meaning that he doesn't have the peripheral vision to kind of look around, see what's happening, and he kind of gets drawn to the press, drawn to the ball a lot. And so when you've got Bissouma slightly behind him, he can pick up on the things that he might have missed, and he's able to cover the ground that maybe Bentancur misses, and vice versa. I think Bissouma, he doesn't scan quite well. So they kind of hide each other's deficiencies a little bit better when they're playing together and they're closer to each other in not in a straight line, but it's a slight tilt. Do you know what I mean? But it's not your left 8 kind of, and then you got the right 8, because that's more attacking, in my opinion.
We've got to give some credit to Bissouma, haven't we? Because I think that was the first game I've seen from him since probably the first 10 games of last season, where he actually put in a 95-minute performance without any kind of lapses of concentration, without any bizarre, 4-yard passes going to completely the wrong player. And then I said after the game, I was like, okay, now I want him to start against West Ham, and I want him to show that he can do that for 2 games in a row. And then I think in the first 15 minutes, I watched him literally pass a ball straight to a West Ham player from 5 yards away, when no other Spurs player was anywhere near him. And listen, I'm not trying to just slag him off because it's too easy. I think he will again be a really important player on Thursday night, but he definitely got sucked into the being about 30% off his level against West Ham, presumably because he didn't want to get injured, because he knows he's going to start on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a mental thing with some of these players, where even if they're not conscious of it, it might be in their subconscious that the game is massive.
Totally.
On Thursday, they don't want to get a knock. They don't want to pick up any hamstring injuries, because let's face it, lots of players been, this season especially, been picking up these type of injuries, whether it be muscle injuries or be something a bit more, skeletal, or
it's his knee, Maddison's knee, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the MCL, isn't it? It's the 2 to 3 months that we didn't want to hear about. That's come to fruition.
Maddis is injury prone. I think that's one of the reasons why we got him for only 40 million. Otherwise, he would have been a 50-60 million pound player. And it always takes him a while to get over it. I want to ask, based on Maddison now being out for the rest of the season, do you have any confidence that Kulusevski, assuming he's going to come in and play in that 8-10 role, do you have any confidence that he will be asked to come and drop a bit deeper when Vicario has the ball, when the back line has the ball, to try and control the game in the way that Maddis does?
He may be asked to, but I feel like Kulusevski's better when he's allowed to kind of roam and just be the free spirit kind of midfielder that he is, or even play him closer to the Dominic Solanke, where he can sometimes attack the space. I go back to pre-season, where I remember when he played the false 9 and he was playing super high up against Bayern Munich, and he was causing a lot of problems for their defense. Even against in cups or games against Manchester United, I remember Kulusevski, when he's higher up the pitch and he's just doing his thing, and he's able to wander off to the left and then come back into the center and veer to the right. You get to see the best of him. That's why I was saying having Bentancur and Bissouma as a shield allows the 10 or 8 or whatever you want to call them more freedom to kind of affect the game offensively. And I think that's where the balance was off against West Ham, where you're asking him to defend, you're asking him to drop deep, you're asking him to progress the ball. And that's not really where I think you can get the best out of him, especially when he's not in the rhythm. Do you understand?
I don't think he dropped anywhere near as deep as Maddis did, though. I have to say, I feel like with Kulusevski, I agree with everything you're saying. Like, he is definitely more dangerous in that final third, but I do feel like, and maybe you're right. Maybe the Bissouma and Bentancur will cover this on Thursday night, but we certainly against West Ham, and it's not a good game to judge based on. But I felt like what ended up happening a lot was Vicario basically going long up to Wilson Odobert, and then Kulusevski being around there hoping to pick up the scraps. But he was second to all the scraps because West Ham had a couple of midfielders around him. And if that's how, I just fear that if that's how we approach the game on Thursday night. And maybe if we do, actually, we'll have better options, because if Richarlison and Solanke on to hold the ball up. But if we do, I just fear we'll lose a lot of second balls in that midfield and basically have no control of the game. That's my worry.
I think personally, if we look for players that now we're missing Maddison, we need to look for creativity elsewhere. And I think Porro and Romero would be the difference on that right hand side, because against West Ham, on that right, nothing came down that side. It was all through the left, in my opinion. And I think that's why people were looking at Tell. And just Tell really. Dance obviously played well, but in terms of attacking, I think Tell was the one where people saw the most joy and thought, yeah, he had a better game than anyone else. But I just felt like we actually build out from our left when we do progress the ball from the defensive third into the midfield into attacking third. I think if you've got Porro there and you've got Romero there on that right hand side, Kulusevski, then Bentancur, that four, they're more likely to have that relationship where they can find each other. They know each other's movements. I remember against Manchester United where Romero fizzes a ball into Kulusevski, and Kulusevski he runs into a space and then he chops and he goes the other way. So he fakes one way and then he goes the other way and then receives the ball on a half turn, and then he's able to go up the field. So I'm looking at those type of dynamics where you can allow Kulu to drift out wide into the right mid and then drift into the kind of pocket where he finds space, and he's a bit clever and crafty. But his first touch had been a bit off. His second touch had been a bit off, and I think that's affecting his rhythm and stopping his momentum in the game. Because sometimes in the game, you just need a few things to go right. And it's the simple things when they don't go right. Your first touch, you're not trapping it under, or you're not on your first touch, you're not opening your hips up so the ball, goes in the direction of where you're attacking, certain things like that. When that's disrupted in early games, you find it hard to get back into it. Do you know what I mean? Especially if the ball's not coming your way. Because like I said, a lot of the game was played down that left-hand side.
And I just want to bring up a couple of things that I've now got theories on based on nothing but my own brain. But I'm sure you've seen that after the game, some of the Bodo players have come out in the press and started basically slagging off our press. I want to ask you whether you think there's a chance this could be mind games in an attempt to get Tottenham to press really high against them at home and therefore cut us open, because that's what they really want, because the plastic pitch is much quicker than all of the pitches that we're used to. And from a lot of the experts that I've listened to on the Spurs podcast, by which I mean the Bodo Glimt experts, they've all been saying a lot of teams come to Bodo Glimt and try and press really high and they just get cut open. So there's my first theory. The second theory is based on Ange also saying in the press that they're not going to train on the artificial pitches before the game, based on the fact that they're all different. I wonder whether my theory on that is, and I wonder whether you agree, is that Ange is basically lying and trying to kind of put an idea in Bodo Glimt players' head that they're being complacent and that they're not going to take this seriously. So what do you think of my two theories there, Ash?
Yeah, no, I think it holds weight, it holds merit. I think the pitch one, I think typically that's what you do, and before a game you prepare your games on their pitches, and you kind of see the dimensions of the pitch, how it feels, the weight of the pitch, etc. We do have 4G pitches at the way, but again, you look at it like, would you pick up injuries for some players if they're playing too much on the actual pitch, on the 4G pitch, if they're preparing on it? So maybe unless they went 50% at their maximum capacity and train with less intensity. It doesn't sound like Ange. Ange likes to train at full intensity from what I know. So I'm thinking maybe you're right. I think he's trying to,
I think the bigger thing for me, which I find odd, would be if we lose, say we lose 3-0 or 4-1 or whatever, and we go out, then all the press, the first question they're going to ask Ange is, why didn't you train on plastic pitches? And so he's made a rod for his own back. So listen, I'm just saying that in that instance, I think he's probably, I think it must be mind games. What about the Bodo players slagging off our press?
The Bodo players slagging off, I think that definitely is mind games again. But when I did watch the West Ham game and we all, went for a man-to-man press, and then they played through it, and then they ended up scoring a goal with a switch of play into I think it was Wan-Bissaka that finds Bowen, and Bowen put it in the back of the net through Vicario's legs. I'm like, have they got a point? But again, it's like, why do we not adopt what we do in Europe that's working into the Premier League? I'm not too sure why we revert back to our old type, whatever you want to call it, Ange ball or, you know, Gerger press and high pressing. I don't understand. But yeah, I mean, the promising thing is we don't play like that in Europe. And our best performances have been when we do like a mid block, and we're on a transition more or less, and we find the space. We let teams come onto us. We defend well, and then we pick our moments when to, like, you know, trigger the press, and then we find the players further up the field, and we play a little bit long, a bit more direct, a bit more expansive, rather than short passes. Because I think we've actually done it on ourselves sometimes when we're playing that from the back with the goalkeeper, with Vicario, and that short pass invites that pressure on, and we sometimes don't have the minerals to get through their press, and we lose it, and we kind of make one mistake. It doesn't lead to a goal, it might lead to an error, and that gives them confidence, and before you know it, the momentum, because I think football is all about momentum,
it is, yeah, swings
to that team, and then we encourage them to take a shot, etc. And, you know, once you get one shot off, then you know what happens next. Do you know what I mean? So totally. I just think, yeah, going long, not even long, clip passes. I like when Vicario is able to do a clip pass into a fullback who's slightly wider, and then allows either the fullback to pass into one of our midfielders, or he can find one of our wingers that's dropped short, and we've got an opportunity to be 1v1, and that's what we want. And we'll create opportunities when we're 1v1.
Totally. Ash, this is a good time to get you to tell my audience where they can find you on your YouTube channel, because your face has gone and it's just been replaced by the Spurs Kings TV logo. So also tell the audience where they can find Spurs Kings TV.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube, on that platform, also on X as well. And we tend to go live every Tuesday on Wednesday. So yeah, catch us down. We do late night shows. So if you can't sleep, we'll be streaming all through the night, man, and talking all things Spurs. So yeah, come check us out, man. But yeah, great. Thanks for having me on as well, Barnaby. Big up to yourself. Great channel here.
I'm actually not ending the video yet. It's just because I can't see your face anymore, and it does show the Spurs Kings TV logo.
Right. Okay, so, fair enough.
Fair enough. Only a couple of more things to talk about. That the Aston Villa game has now officially been moved to the Friday before, just in case Tottenham do make it to the Europa League final. I think Aston Villa will be pretty unhappy about that. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm surprised, because they tried to like push against it. They want to get to Champions League, don't they? They don't care about what we're doing. If we're tired, it's a advantage for them. Do you know what I mean? Like less preparation.
Do you think the Premier League made the best decision to kind of give Spurs and Man United equality when it comes to the amount of rest before a potential final?
Yeah. I think they want a fair fight. And, you know, Premier League, they're trying to get the best team up there, which is Spurs, of course. We've beaten Manchester United 3 times. Let's make it 4th. Maybe that's why they want to help us out a little bit. They don't want them to be representing Manchester United, representing England in the Champions League. I joke.
Okay, so just a few other little stories. I'll run through them, and then you can give thoughts at the end on any. Some rumours that Leeds might be signing or looking to sign Archie Gray on loan for next season. Paratici could be returning to Spurs sometime soon. That Milan deal fell through, and talks are happening for him potentially to come back in some capacity at Spurs. Jamie Donnelly won Leyton Orient's Player of the Year and Young Player of the Year award, and Josh Keeley won the Goal of the Season award, and he's a goalkeeper, being on loan. And of course, Harry Kane and Eric Dyer have picked up their first silverware, winning the Bundesliga at Bayern Munich. Any particular thoughts on any of those, Ash?
Archie Gray is very interesting, because I think us as a Spurs community, we do get excited about players, and we do call them, like, you know, generational talents. Look at this player, is going to be amazing. As soon as they put that Spurs shirt on, we think they're going to blow up. I don't think it's quite happened like that for Archie Gray this season, considering the price tag, 40 million. I understand there's the English, you know, tax on it, so I do understand that. He was Championship Player of the Year. Did play the predominantly of his games as a right back, but he does describe himself as a 6 or a DM or an 8. He hasn't had that many opportunities at that position. but I just feel like I would like to see him go back to Leeds or a club that will play him and give him the minutes in the right position. And I just want to see him develop now.
Mm.
And I'm not sure if Spurs will give him that opportunity to play in that position. Playing in the Championship, playing in Premier League is two different levels. The intensity, tactical nous, as I was saying before, your spatial awareness, your ability to receive under pressure, like getting on that half turn. I know he can do it, but I'm just saying when the speed of the league and the way players curve their runs to kind of put you under pressure to stop and block passing lanes into obvious positions might force you backwards, sideways, make you second guess, etc., etc. So I just want to see him just have a run of games in that position where a team can trust him. And so I wouldn't be mad if Archie Gray went on loan to like back to Leeds because he's quite familiar with that, and his brother was there as well. His family, you know, they're well and bedded into the Leeds culture. They've had a few legends there, as you know. So yeah, for me, I wouldn't mind that one. I know Manor Solomon. I don't know if you mentioned that as well.
No, I
He's
didn't.
been linked with a move.
Oh, they'll be buying him for sure. Daniel Levy will be pushing up the price as we speak for him.
Yeah, because he did get the winner, didn't he, to get them into that promotion?
And that's going to be pure. That's going to be pure profit for Spurs because they paid nothing for him.
Yeah, exactly. So I could see. I know a few people said, oh, he might do well if he came back to Spurs, but I just think that one's done in my opinion. But yeah, moving on from the Leeds.
Just one thing I just want to say about Archie Gray before you move on. I'll tell you what I think is going to happen. I think when Pochettino comes back to Spurs, which will probably be in a year's time, Archie Gray will come in. Archie Gray, by that point, will have bulked up a little bit, and he will come in and play that Eric Dyer role that Pochettino had Dyer playing when he was first at Spurs, which is, or in that 15-16 season, which is when we've got the ball, Dyer drops in between the two centre halves, picks it up, and he's got everything in front of him. And then he'll play the defensive midfield role from there. That's my prediction.
Fair enough, man. I don't know because I'm not sure if Poch will come back. And because it all depends on what coach we bring in. And you're saying basically whoever comes in is going to fail, or they're not going to stay here for a whole entire year.
I just wouldn't put it past Daniel Levy to try and keep Postecoglou for a year, or give it to, I don't know, Ryan Mason or someone.
But Mason's been linked to West Brom, hasn't he? Yeah, heavily. Yeah. So I'm not sure if he's going to take up the mantle.
I hope he gets a move like that. I do. I hope he does.
He's been linked before to
Yeah, he nearly got a job. He nearly got a couple of jobs back in January or back at the back end of last year for sure. Were you happy? Were you happy to see Harry Kane get on the piss after winning something?
Yeah, I was happy for him, man, because that's been hanging over his head like the whole of his career.
It has, but just playing cynic and devil's advocate, and I said this before he left for Bayern, actually, all that makes Harry Kane, listen, Bayern winning the Bundesliga is nothing like that. Harry Kane is now just the same as Alan McInally. Alan McInally went to Bayern Munich and won the Bundesliga at Bayern Munich, and no one talks about Alan McInally so as far as I'm concerned, this kind of the trophy drought bullshit, if he ever comes back to England, no fans who like to take the piss out of Harry Kane are going to say, oh, but he won the Bundesliga. They're going to say, you've won nothing in England. They're going to say, you've not won the Champions League. You've not won the Premier League. So he's going to forever be fighting it. The reality with Harry Kane for me is he is the best. I actually get angry when I see things like the overlap, or when I see legends putting together their best number 9s in the Premier League era. I get so angry because they never talk about Harry Kane. And I'm like, hold on. And wait, so I'm on a rant now, but they also say, oh, because, he played for Spurs and he didn't win anything. It's like he played for Spurs and put up numbers better than anybody else, apart from Alan Shearer, in a worse sides where he has to do it all on his own, and somehow that counts against him. It makes no fucking sense.
No, it doesn't. Do you know what it is with the Bundesliga and the whole, he hasn't done it in the Prem, or lifted the trophy in the Prem? I just think that record that he had in Bayern Munich, he was the fastest player, wasn't he? To become the top scorer. I think he got 50 goals in like 48 games or something crazy like that. And then so he broke Haaland's record, and obviously people respect Haaland a lot. I mean, and he broke another record as well. I can't remember what it was, but top scorer last season. Going to be a top scorer this season as well. So you have to put respect on it. You have to put some weight on it.
course.
He's been top scorer of
He's the
Golden Boot.
England highest scorer of all time.
Yeah, exactly. So if he was to come back and then break that record in the Premier League, maybe they might say he's not an all-time Premier League great, which is ridiculous to me, because he hasn't got the league title, which Shearer got. So in terms of like, I don't know, pecking order, people still put Shearer above him. But he would have broken all the records, home and abroad. That's got to count for something. Like, you know, going abroad. See, people say it's a farmers league, but that same Bayern Munich team is beat Arsenal. Do you know what I mean? And Arsenal meant to be one of the...
Listen, I agree. But all I'm saying is, I just think in terms of how people, like you said, not putting respect on his name, I think that will just continue for some reason. And one of the reasons people kind of, it's such a weird thing. I think it's like a generational thing. One of the reasons is because he is so kind of single-minded and boring, because he's not like, you know, he doesn't care about lifestyle stuff. He's just a single-minded, all I care about is scoring goals and winning games, and he's, you know, he's not in like a celebrity relationship. So it's almost like a lot of people on social media can't find anything to beat him with, so they beat him with, oh, you've not won any trophies. And now he's won the Bundesliga. They're not going to stop. They're going to be like, well, you've not won any important trophies. And it's like, I just feel for Harry Kane. I think he's always going to be fighting against the tide, probably until after he retires, when suddenly everyone will look back at him and be like, actually, what an absolute legend.
I mean, look, I look at Lewandowski. I think Lewandowski is a top striker. Do you know what I mean? And you're seeing it now at Bayern Munich. Barcelona, what damage he's doing in that league. But look, Harry's come and he's taken his record. He's taken his chain. Yeah. So what now? You know, if you rate Lewandowski highly, surely you've got to put Kane in that same bracket.
Listen, I think what would be really interesting is if Bayern Munich went on to win the first World Club Cup, and whether any respect was given for that. And then after that, I think Kane might be like, all right, I want to get back to the Premier League to try and break that record.
Or England do something.
England do something.
Yeah. If England do something and he's a part of that, because I think that's where people say, oh, he doesn't turn up in the big games.
Yeah.
If he comes in the big game and he scores in the quarterfinal, semi-final, then it's undeniable.
Well, and that's when he gets a knighthood for sure, because he's the captain.
But they used to do the same thing with sorry, real quickly. They used to do the same thing with Messi and Ronaldo. Do you remember? We were like, you know, Ronaldo, Messi,
not won an international tournament.
Yeah. So come on.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, Ash, thanks so much for being part of the show. I really appreciate it. Once again, point them towards your Twitter and your Instagram and all that stuff.
Yeah. Again, you find me on YouTube, and you'll find me Spurs Kings TV on X as well. So catch us on those platforms, and please, man. Well, we're like 400 off 4K. No, sorry, brilliant. 350 off 4K. So
go and subscribe to Spurs Kings TV. Get them up to 4,000. Both you and Marlon, really good tactical analysis, and know your stuff. Also, just before I finish this video, Ash, your prediction for Thursday night scoreline.
It's a good one. I haven't really thought about this, so I'm just going to quickly throw out.
Let me just help you out here. I'm telling you, we're going to go 2 goals down. I'm telling you that. I think we'll be 2 goals down at half time, and we will be in full panic mode. And then we will somehow, by hook or by crook, find a way to like Lucas Moura it. I don't know how, but something will happen. Something bonkers will happen, like Richarlison or Romero will get sent off as well in the first half. We'll go 2-0 down, and then we'll find a way. That's my prediction. And I think we'll win by 1 goal on aggregate.
Yeah, we'll definitely win. I think we'll go through. How we go through is another question. 2 goals going 2 goals down. That would be terrible. That would be terrible. It'd be bad for nerves. But yeah, all right. If we're gonna go 2 goals down, then it's a 3-2. It has to be, right?
3-2 overall, or 3-2 on the day?
2-2, 3-2 overall.
Got it. Well, no, that wouldn't work. 2-2 would be 4-2 overall, wouldn't it? No, wait. 2-2 on the day. 2-2 on the day would be 5-3.
Well,
that's what you're going for. 2-2 and 5-3 on aggregate.
2-2.
That's it, guys. Let us know in the comments what your prediction is for Thursday night, and make sure you subscribe to Spurs Kings TV, as I said, and subscribe to my channel as well. I'm about 400 away from 15,000, but it's been a long few months trying to get to 15,000 because nobody wants to watch Tottenham content because Tottenham have been so bad. But yeah, give this video a like and listen. 2 days until the big one, and in 3 days' time, we might, and it's a big might, we might be all looking to book our trip to Bilbao.